I dreamed of seeing Sophie on the concert stage in New York City, playing her flute just for me.
Hello everyone! Welcome back to Remembering the Razzies. Yo soy Jacob.
Te amo Triston.
You love Triston?
Sure. Why did we open in Spanish?
I don't know, it's the closest thing to a foreign language that I know.
We should do German.
Sure. Because we speak German.
Yeah.
Which was really convenient for this movie that we watched where a lot of the dialogue's in German.
Unsubtitled German. We watched Shining Through. Why is it called that?
I have no idea. I can't even come up with like a bullshitty, shitty film, pretentious, she was shining through her action. I honestly, I
can't think of anything.
This movie, I don't know.
Stunk.
Yeah, it really was bad.
It was bad. This movie is about the war. This is 1992, by the way.
Yeah, that war.
Yeah, the war of 1992.
Sorry. I thought... Yes, the War of 1992, the Gulf War.
The war with the guy that had the little mustache like this.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas is like some American spy in the Second World War, and then he gets some good puss, and then he's like, you can be a spy too.
And it goes as well as you would assume, which is not well, because she's not a spy.
No, she's not.
But she's really clever.
No, she's not.
Well, she says that she's clever. She's able to trick him.
Yeah.
So that's good enough for him. It's really boring.
It's a bad spy movie. It's really boring.
They try to build up tension a little bit at the end, but it's like a 2-hour, 20-minute long video movie. We make movies here. It's a long movie that only like the last 20 minutes have any sort of action, which in a spy movie you would kind of want some of that. The rest of it is just, I don't know. It's like the first half is melodrama, and then the second half, I don't even know what that was. That was just her going around Germany being like, oh boy, I'm a spy now.
She's just babysitting some Nazi kids.
Yeah.
Looking for her cousins.
Which doesn't happen.
I get a little confused because the screenplay is bad. The story is bad.
Yes.
She meets Michael Douglas, works to be his secretary. She finds out that he's a spy because he sucks at being...
He's really bad.
She questions him for like 5 minutes. He's like, you got me, I'm a spy.
Yeah.
They smash.
They have sex.
Pearl Harbor happens after one of their...
Which is really funny just to say, like, they had sex, and then Pearl Harbor happens, and then they're in the war, but that's what happens.
Michael Douglas does spy stuff, and he's like, I can't see you anymore, babe. She's like, okay, it's for the war. Michael Douglas comes back like, I don't know how much time has passed, but he comes back with another broad.
And she's understandably upset at him. And then I think they have sex again and she becomes a spy.
She becomes a spy.
It's kind of a blur.
They send her on a mission to Germany, and then she I think does the mission, or halfway does the mission, and then she's like, I'm gonna stay here and find my cousins.
She's never met these cousins. She's essentially a pen pal.
Yeah.
She has one picture of her cousin holding a flute, and that's the basis of her knowledge of her cousin.
Brought up many times.
Yeah.
Is that flute. And then hijinks ensues.
It's a World War II Nazi Germany. Hijinks are ensuing.
She becomes acquainted with Liam Neeson,
who's a high up ranking Nazi official.
But not a good Nazi.
Yeah, he bad
like in
Nazi.
The good World War II movie.
Yeah.
He's a bad Nazi in the bad World War II movie.
Right.
She finds out that her cousins are dead, finds out that a friend of hers who they thought was a double agent was actually a double agent and turned against her.
She murders that bitch.
She murders that bitch. The bitch tries to murder her. She almost dies, and then Michael Douglas just finds her in the depths of Berlin. and he tries to take her to Switzerland. There's a gunfight, and you're like, oh my gosh, because we know that she's not gonna die, because this is all told as like an interview from her perspective.
Like Titanic.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh my gosh, Michael Douglas is gonna die.
Yeah, because he gets shot like 4 times.
Yeah.
And he's alive. And the movie doesn't end on a freeze frame, which I will give them credit for.
That's true.
But they do end on like a camera pan back while they're just talking to each other. Like it's like the end of Saturday Night Live, where they're just ssitting and they're like, "So you want to go get coffee later?"
Everybody's hugging.
And yeah, the credits start rolling. It's really weird. Yeah, it's not worth it. It's really boring and confusing.
I would like to say that you could cut it and it would be better, but the screenplay is so bad and all over the place.
Yeah, I think if you cut it, honestly, all you get is a short, crappy movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would rather see.
Yeah.
As opposed to a long, crappy movie, but no, it just really isn't a good movie. What happened this year? Do whatever you're gonna do.
Let's see what the movie won. Worst director, worst actress, and worst picture. I thought it won screenplay too. No, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot won worst screenplay.
Damn. I would say director for the same reason that I would say worst actress.
Yeah.
Specifically when it comes to acting, everyone in this movie is very flat.
Even Michael Douglas.
There is a scene. It's when Michael Douglas comes back from the war with another lady at the dance, and they're having their big conflict. Neither of them is very emotional, except for her. This is like the most emotion she shows in the movie.
Yeah.
And she's like crying and sobbing, and like Michael Douglas is staring stone-faced straight ahead, not looking at her, and she's just like sobbing into his chest, and he's just...
I want to talk about that scene in general.
Yeah.
Because she sits there and she's like, I don't know if he's dead or alive. He's crossed enemy lines. I don't know. He shows up with another woman. He comes to her because he sees her and she's like, you're an asshole, blah, blah, blah. And he says, well, you get over yourself. She starts crying and then all is fixed.
Yeah. She's like, I should get over myself. That was a wise thing to tell me.
Yeah, let's talk about
main character.
Melanie Griffith. Like you said, there is no emotion in any. She like kind of does facial expressions loosely, but every single line,
especially her narration. Her narration, like they should have had time to be able to like re-voice over all that narration, and it's so bad.
I knew he was traveling and into dangerous places. I also knew I didn't want to care.
That sounded pathetic.
She's trying to act as like an old lady talking about her stories from the war.
And she sounds sedated.
She does. I compared her, well, first off, I compared her to, if you've seen our previous videos, Pia Zadora from The Lonely Lady, because they're just bad, monotone characters that are too dramatic for them.
Yes.
Which doesn't make sense to me, again, because she's also an Oscar nominee. She was an Oscar nominee. Yes. And then I compared her to, who is that character that you like, that I compared her to? The one that goes...
Oh, Nalan!
What's wrong with my accent?
It's a version cartoon.
Michael Douglas, I want to kiss Michael Douglas. And maybe you give sex respect now.
That's exactly like how she sounds the whole movie. This movie was nominated against Newsies, Final Analysis, Christopher Columbus, The Discovery, and The Bodyguard. I've heard of The Bodyguard. I've seen Newsies.
I've never seen Newsies. I didn't think it was regarded as bad.
Yeah, I watched it in history class. It's a Christian Bale movie, which is odd. He sings in that.
Fighting crime, trying to save the world. Here they come just in time. The Powerpuff Girl.
I don't need to see it. I know. This is...
Yeah, this one sucks.
It was boring. It was confusing.
Yeah, this was bad, not in an entertaining sense. It was bad in a I don't want to watch this ever again.
Yeah.
And I would never recommend it to anyone because it's just not fun. We've seen movies that are less entertaining.
Yeah.
Specifically one. But
yeah.
Movie put me to sleep.
Yeah, this is bad. Do you want to rank this?
Sure, I would love to.
Okay, let's start with Best Made. I'm going to go out on a limb because I think that this is the best made. I think, like we said, Hudson Hawk and Adventures of Ford Fairlane, this feels like a step above it. There's still nothing spectacular to me about the cinematography or anything.
Yeah.
Basic filmmaking 101 this was better than the others that we've seen.
This movie stylistically is very consistent. It's well shot. There was never any edits where we were like, that was weird.
There was one moment when she looks out the window and sees her friend calling the police, and
then
it zooms in like
yeah.
a Spanish soap opera.
Yeah, that was weird. And I don't know why Razzie winners like doing that.
Yeah. But despite that, yeah, it was all very consistent. It was just a movie.
Right, as opposed to Hudson Hawk, which we were saying, like, tonally, it goes back and forth a lot on, like, is this a kid's movie? Is this not a kid's movie? So, yeah, I would say that this was probably the best made so far. In terms of most entertaining, I'd put it dead fucking last. I'd rather watch Ghosts Can't Do It again, which I don't think I would have ever said. At least Ghosts Can't Do It, I felt something. It was hatred, but I felt something.
Yeah.
This movie I would never want to watch again, and I could never recommend to anyone.
It's the closest we've got to Incon. If we were still ranking, like, everything that we've seen so far, this would be just above Incon.
At least this one we didn't turn off. We could have turned it off, honestly. We knew where this story was going the whole time. So.
The only thing I didn't know was that Michael Douglas was going to survive. And that wasn't even like a, oh my gosh, he survived. That was like a, what the fuck?
Why is he
survived?
alive? Yeah. So yeah, that was Shining Through, apparently. The name, honestly, now that I have to read it saying this movie is called Shining Through, it does not make any sense why this is called Shining Through.
Yeah.
Is there a name that you would have given this movie?
A name that
Like,
I would have...
unironically, what would you call this?
You could go basic and just be like, The Spy.
Yeah, I was thinking like The Spy.
The Spy. I mean, there's nothing that like really... There's no... If there
There's
was like
nothing
a,
that stands
if
out.
there was like a... Maybe The Flute.
Oh, search for the flute
I
girl.
like Will's idea of Das Flute.
Das Flute.
So, the 90s are hurting me. We've watched 4 movies and only one of them was like slightly redeemable.
That's true. What's coming up on our slate next week? I want to die.
We're watching Indecent Proposal.
I didn't know that was a bad movie. I thought that was considered good.
Robert Redford, Demi Moore, Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad cast.
Okay. I mean, I'm interested. I don't think it's gonna be bad. So,
Listen,
you know what? I'm gonna put my money down right now. It's gonna be a good movie.
we've said that the past 2 episodes.
It's gonna be a good movie.
Something
It'll
like
be
that.
just fine. Put it in my hand. Good movie. Good movie award. Shing.
Fighting crime, trying to save the world. Here they come just in time. The Powerpuff Girls.